Good afternoon. Here we are live. It's July. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Mary Grace, and this is Mary Grace Media, and it's Real Talk with Mary Grace, Thursday, the 1st of July, 2021. Looks like people are coming on board here. Okay. Anybody here? Say hello when you come in. There's somebody. Okay. Did the feed just come up? Did it just now come? Seems like there's a delay. The note taker is here. Delia, I got your notes from yesterday. I haven't even had a chance to look. I've been out all day, but thank you. All right. So come on in. I'm Mary Grace. Say hello. It's July. And what month? What woke cause are we celebrating this month? How about freedom? That's a pretty good one. It seems like they're coming up with some crazy things. Every month is something month. How about we just have like all American, um, the month of freedom, the year of freedom? Why does every month have to be some cause? All right. Now, as you're coming in, please make sure that you like this broadcast. So if you're on YouTube, hit like. If you are on Facebook, like it, hit the hearts. Make sure you leave a comment. And also, when you come back for the replay, make sure you leave comments. That helps my broadcast to show up in the feed. And when you're on Facebook, make sure, please like the Facebook page, not just the broadcast. Go and like Mary Grace Media, the page, and then recommend it to your friends. And also, please share the broadcast to the please share the broadcast to your groups on Facebook, and then also tag your friends. So did I leave anything out? Like the page, like the broadcast, hit the hearts, leave a comment, share it in a group, and then tag your friends. That's Facebook. And then on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. Hit the red button to subscribe, and then hit the bell so that you won't miss an episode. And then if you're coming back after the fact, leave a comment, and I do read those comments. I think that's it. And so thank you for everybody for being here. We are coming up on the weekend of Independence Day, celebrating our nation's independence when a very few brave individuals decided that enough was enough and that they were going to pen the Declaration of Independence declaring their sovereignty from the crown. And it seems like, feels like we've been fighting them ever since. It's like the crown has been a bitter clinger, and they have not wanted to let go. But we're not giving in, even though there are people among us who have retained allegiance. There are Tories among us, and so if you are wondering what is this all about, what this weekend is all about, it's not just the 4th of July. That's a date that is roughly commemorative of the time that the Declaration of Independence was penned. But uh, um, okay, the point is that it's Independence Day. That's the point. It is Independence Day. That is the key. It is the Independence Day for us, for Americans. And it really is the day that every single American should be celebrating. And the people that have decided that our flag is offensive, or that America is the problem, or that we we're, I don't know, the boogeyman, or whatever it is. I hear some unreal things about America. Trust me, I've been to a lot of places in the world, and America may have her shortcomings and her faults. I'm not saying we're perfect. However, I will tell you that America is the one place that I will always be happy to come back to. And when you're overseas, when you're traveling overseas, when you're living overseas, when you are a long, long, long way from home, as in on the other side of the planet, and you see an American flag, especially if you've been traveling for quite some time, or you hear an American accent, it is, there's nothing like it. There's nothing in the world like it. And there's a lot of propaganda out there that is being forced on people to try to convince them that that our country is evil and that we are the source of all the problems, that America is the baddie. And no. If you're hearing that, if you're tempted to embrace that line of thinking, I'm here to tell you that, first of all, that has been going on for quite some time. And even when I traveled and lived overseas back in the early 2000s, or even before that, the same rhetoric always applies. And I, I mean, there's always going to be a narrative out there that is trying to convince you that America is the most evil entity on the planet. I mean, look back at uh, a lot of the expats that were living, a lot of the expats that were living overseas around the time, like of Ernest Hemingway. There was an entire contingent of artists and intellectuals who had convinced themselves that America was the big baddie and the source of all evil. And that thinking, that line of thinking, has trickled down into progressive thought throughout time. So what we're seeing and what we're hearing it's not new. It's just this is just the latest iteration of it. That's all. So don't fall for it. Don't let them convince you that our country is the problem. uh, a lot of that a lot of that propaganda is actually perpetuated by the master propagandists, and the AI, the troll farms, the bot farms that are controlled the by China. And when I speak of that, I'm talking about the entity, the government, not the people, not the citizens, and then also by Russia. I mean, they have a pretty robust propaganda machine themselves. Um, I was just looking at your comments. Yeah, somebody says, I was in the military, spent several years overseas. America is the best. It absolutely is. There's just hands down, it is. And that doesn't mean that other countries aren't exciting and lovely and wonderful and they have a lot to offer, but it's just not the same. It's not the same. I mean, there's a reason that everybody comes to us for loans and money and help and aid, and people die to want to get to this country. There's a reason that people kiss the soil when they get uh, off a plane in America. Um, so don't let the rhetoric and the propaganda convince you otherwise. It's easy to fall into that. And if you have high school, or if you have college age or millennial age kids and they go traveling overseas, a lot of times they'll come back and they'll start to tell you that America is the problem, because that's the rhetoric that they get fed. And of course, now they're getting fed that same thing in our colleges and universities because they've been infiltrated by Marxists. And so just be very careful about that. Don't buy into it. And this is part of educating your kids, is that you warn them about that, because they're going to encounter it. There's no doubt that they will. It's in all the literature. It's in all of the news. It's in every curriculum that is being fed to our kids these days. The White House made a proclamation. Um, the White House made a proclamation about uh, I think they decided that this is the month of the immigrant. Like, really? How about just the month of freedom, the month of the American flag, the month of independence? Let's just stop coming up with these manufactured celebrations for every month of the year, and let's just celebrate who we are. We're American. I loved what Richard Grenell did last month on his Instagram. He put up a picture of the American flag, and he said, "This is my pride flag." I thought that was so perfect. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, um, he was the DNI. He was the ambassador to Germany, appointed by Real 45, and then he was the DNI, head of DNI, and he's the first openly gay cabinet member, I think, in history. And so he was appointed by Real 45, and I really like him because he's very even keeled. He cares he cares more about America than in uh, force feeding people with his identity. And I feel like that's the way it really should be. I know I really like him. I would like to meet him. So that's just my I guess that's my opening monologue today. And I do have a lot of somebody said I should record my opening so that I don't have to repeat it every time. Maybe I'll do that one time. But I don't know. I don't mind I don't know. I don't mind saying it. I hope you guys don't mind. I try not to spend too much time on it. But so I wanted to point out as we go into this weekend, uh, as we go into this weekend, just be sure and remember that it's Independence Day. It's not just the 4th of July, right? It's there's a very distinguishing history and reason that we celebrate this day. And it's not just because of the number. I mean, that would be like, oh, the 25th of December. Um, you know, like Easter, Resurrection Sunday. It's kind of good that that's not always on the same date so that we don't end up calling it like April 5th. It's a big deal. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm looking for statements by Real 45. Uh, okay, somebody, I shared a statement from Real 45 in my Telegram. By the way, if you're not following my Telegram, it's Mary Grace Media Official. And um, somebody was asking about a post that I shared from a Telegram account. The Telegram account has the name of our president, and they asked if it was the real account. It's not his personal account, but it's an account that was set up exclusively to share content that is generated by him. There are two accounts that I share content from. One of them is George News, and one of them is this specific account that has his name. And it has over 1 million followers. And again, the statements that are put out on that are exclusively his statements. And you'll notice if you go on that account, if you link back to it where I shared it in my Telegram, that there's no comments, there's no other comments, and there's no forwarded messages. It's only his content. And I just wanted to be very clear about that. Um, and so those are the two places that I will share content from Real 45. For some reason, George News hasn't shared those statements, and that must mean that they're traveling and that they're probably with him right now. But those statements, when I share them, they're accurate. And one of them that he put out earlier was, "Who shot Ashley Babbitt?" It's very interesting because he didn't say who killed her. And there's been a lot of speculation, and there's been some videos that have been put out that question that entire narrative and what happened in that specific incident in that day. And if you're not familiar with that story, that is the young woman who was seen shot and allegedly, well, according to the news, was killed. and was shot by somebody in the security forces or the Capitol Police. And all you see in the video is the arm and the firearm of the individual that shot her. And there was a lot of speculation, and the person that made the video, I thought, had some incredibly good points. They went through the the scene frame by frame, and they analyzed what they were seeing, and I thought that it was very well done. They pointed out some pretty glaring uh, discrepancies. For example, the fact that the way that the bystanders were acting when this person was shot almost point blank, and there was a general lack of panic, and the person that was closest to her, who probably in a real life situation would have dropped down and covered her body with his, I think, um, that uh, that that it didn't make sense that the guy that was closest to her and that should have been administering aid to her had his back to the alleged shooter and was acting pretty casual. I think he was even looking at his phone. It was almost like a movie set. And the other thing that really stood out, whether you agree with me or not, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm telling you the analysis that I saw, but it was compelling. And one of the things that we saw in that video, when you can go back and look at the footage from that day, um, I think that if somebody is shot in the head or in through the neck or anywhere really at that close range, I hate to be too graphic, but there's a lot of matter in there that would end up on the wall or on other people's bodies. I just I don't, it's not that clean. It's not like the movies where it, or it's not like a mannequin. It's not like target shooting where there's just a little hole. I don't think. I mean, I think if you shoot somebody in the head, I don't know. I mean, you know, you read accounts, you hear police reports of coming on a crime scene where that type of shooting has taken place, and I don't think it's very appetizing. And and so and the other part of it is that when she was, you know, when she fell, it was almost like they just sort of like laid her back on the ground, and there was no blood. There was no blood. I can't remember if they said she was shot in the neck or the head. But was I mean, if she was shot in the neck, then the bullet wouldn't have gone into the wall, eh, unless maybe it was a hollow point and then it would kind of explode inside of her head. But then wouldn't she be bleeding out of her eyes? I mean, I'm just thinking um, out loud here, right? I just think that with that, I mean, that gun, it was at least a all right shot in the neck. Yeah. So like, where was the blood? And so that caliber of weapon, um, why wasn't everybody holding their ears? I mean, that's a close quarters shot. You know, I go to the shooting range. I wear earplugs and the little headset indoors like that, and there was a lot of hard surfaces around there. So where did it go? Where did the bullet go? I mean, I'm not a forensic scientist. I'm not an investigator, but that the video that was put out that examined a lot of these irregularities, again, I thought it was very compelling. Now, going back to the message uh, that Real 45 put out today, he just said, "Who shot Ashley Babbitt?" I think that's a legitimate question because nobody has released his name, and the narrative that is going out nonstop is it's 10 times worse than the narrative around what happened in Charlottesville, which in itself was a complete and total debacle. You know, they're trying to paint it as this as a they're calling it the deadly events of January 6th, et cetera, et cetera. The truth is the only person who died at the hands of anybody nefarious, if they in fact died, was Ashley Babbitt. And then the Capitol policeman, who they say was bludgeoned by 45 supporters, in reality died of a heart attack. And the other deaths that took place that day were incidents that occurred that had absolutely nothing to do with violence. So people that had health incidents, either because of the excitement or whatever. I mean, in a crowd that size, you are going to have you're going to have incidents. That's why they keep uh, ambulances on hand, uh, because they know that somebody is going to have a heart incident or a shortness of breath or turn their ankle, or there's always something. And uh, so it's not just disingenuous, it's an absolute lie. And we know that mainstream media, that's what they do. If they didn't have lies, they wouldn't have anything at all. And at this point, I think it's safe to say that the behavior that they are exhibiting is 100% demonic, because who is the father of lies? It's the devil. And for them to perpetuate and to push these lies over and over and over, first of all, it's it's just a big fat lie. But the other part of it is it's very concerning that people who are educated and who are otherwise pretty smart people continue to take this in and to just digest it as gospel. It's very concerning to me that people that I know, who I consider pretty smart, well-educated people, look at news like that and just take it at face value and don't question and say, "Oh yeah, that was a deadly day and all those people were terrorists." Are you not going to look a little bit deeper and try to figure out what really happened? Are you not willing to look and see? Somebody made a comment on YouTube. They said, "Being an EMS, most of the things you're saying are true, all staged, and we don't act like those in the video showed." Right. Yeah, there's so many irregularities about that. Um, Now I wanted to read some of Real 45's other comments, but what do you think about that situation, about that young woman, about the scene that was described? Has everyone seen the video analysis that I was talking about? It's very compelling. It's interesting that it was actually allowed to circulate on the internet as long as it did. Um, but that's the kind of thing where if you could get somebody to put aside their bias long enough to look at that, that might be something that could red pill somebody. But again, you have to get them to put aside to take off the orange man bad glasses for 10 minutes and just be objective and to look at the facts and to take in the irregularities and um, and then maybe consider that what you're seeing is accurate. I mean, it's not doctored footage. It's these are videos that were put out, and then this person went through the video and said, "Here's what I'm seeing that is incredibly sketchy." So, do I think she's alive somewhere? I- That's a good question. Didn't she get? Did they have a legit burial of her, or was it a cremation, or was it something unusual like burial at sea? I can't recall. It was something. Um, it was something unusual like that. It was just sort of like it came and went. And was there a vigil? Um, and again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just there were a lot of irregularities there. Memorial service. Okay. Didn't she post on her social media the day after? I don't know. Not sure about that. Is her husband suing to find out the killer? Good question. And I'm not saying she didn't die. I'm just saying that the the videos, the video itself raises a lot of questions, and the fact that we have not heard about the name of who this person was that fired that weapon, that is incredibly concerning, especially because we have individuals, private citizens who have had visits, in the middle of the night or at dawn by the FBI, uh, to to the homes of innocent people who just happened to go to Washington D.C. on January 6th. And one of them is Brandon Strock, and these people have been held, some of them held indefinitely without being charged. They've been denied access to counsel. They have been in isolation, in solitary confinement. It's a big problem. And I was I was reading an account just recently of somebody who said that her husband, that they came that they came to the door, the FBI came to their door at midnight and, busted in the door and started questioning him and arrested him in front of their 4-year-old child. I mean, it's just it's wrong. And I mean, I've always had a pretty healthy respect for law enforcement, but this is problematic. I think we're past the point where we can defend the rank and file of the FBI, because isn't that who's busting down doors? That's not the director of the FBI. Those are officers. Is that what they're called? Agents. Those are agents who are rank and file. They're out there, they're supposed to be investigating crimes, and here they are busting down the doors and interrogating innocent people and throwing them behind bars with no access to representation. That's the kind of thing that happens in Russia. That's the kind of thing that happened in Nazi Germany. And so um yeah, I'm concerned. I have growing concerns about that agency in our country, and I believe that there's something has to be done, because we're hearing so many stories. We're hearing so many stories about these types of behaviors by that agency, and it has to stop. I mean, these are thugs, and they're going after innocent Americans, and they're questioning them about uh, innocent behavior, and they're demonizing them. And if you're not, if you are good, and if you're inherently following rule of law, then you're not going to do things like that. You're going to stand up for your conscience, and you're not going to take you're not going to take part in those things. And so if you refuse to stand up for the truth and for rule of law, then you are complicit. um yeah, I just feel like it's disgraceful. They're disgraceful, and I think it needs to be dismantled. And those of you who think that the FBI building in Washington is boarded up, and I know there are some people who are showing that online. I mentioned this last week. That building, it's not boarded up because they're being disbanded. It's boarded up because they're relocating, I think, parts of it, but they're also building a new building. And that is something that Real 45 actually announced last year as part of the budget that was approved. So don't fall for fake news about disbanding the FBI. It hasn't happened yet. I mean, I would actually like for it to happen at this point. It has to be completely reimagined. And uh, I mean, these people, I believe they need to be these agents. I believe that a lot of them. they need to be re-educated. um, and yeah, it's pretty scary. Um, and to be labeling Americans that way, and to be labeling American patriotism as extremism. I mean, there's something seriously wrong when people who love their flag and who sing patriotic songs and go to patriotic events are labeled as extremists. And when you have social media putting up warning posts saying that, people may be extremists, that's a problem. I mean, that's pretty clear that uh, somebody is running our social media that is un-American. Uh, Now, um, I was thinking about something before the show today, and that is that. Let me just look at your comments for a minute. Um, so I was thinking about something. The more we hear from 45, and the more we see going on with the election situation, with the audits, with the overall focus on the integrity of the process, uh, I um I had this thought, had a thought, and my thought is, I know that. And just you're coming into one of my moments where you're going to walk with me through my thought process as I flesh out an idea, and it may or may not be valid. It may not have the ultimate outcome that I think it might, but just indulge me for a minute. Here I go. um, I was thinking about how he ran on building the wall, and how that has been a cornerstone of his accomplishments and his administration, and his all of his prowess. I mean, he's a builder. He is a guardian. He is somebody who takes very seriously his role of protecting this country and her citizens. And that is, on the most basic level, national security is represented and exemplified by the wall. It can't get much simpler than that, right? And that is a physical, tangible evidence of his of the fact that he takes very seriously his role of protecting our nation. The fact of the matter is, that's not the only way that people get into the country. Would you not agree? And and yet it is a like I said, it's such a bedrock, and it's so symbolic, and it's big, and it's massive, and it's impenetrable. And he was describing it yesterday in such a way that I didn't even realize just how strong it is. And he was talking about, for example, he said, it's not just steel, it's not just concrete, it's not just rebar, it's all of those. And of course, he was describing it as only a builder can. And when you look at those sections of the wall, there you can see through them. And I thought that they were just hollow tubes of metal, steel, but they're not. They are actually filled with concrete and rebar. It's a very sophisticated design, and everything about it is intentional. And when you saw these videos that might have been going viral on social media that showed people like sawing through the wall, that wasn't his wall. That was old parts of the wall, or maybe that was a movie set somewhere that was made to look like his wall was flimsy and that it could be penetrated. But the truth is that that's not the case. And so the wall that he oversaw, the wall that I believe he's continuing to oversee and will finish, in my opinion, is a monument to than simply a physical border. And here's where my thought process is going. And that is that what if the wall is really only one representation of something much bigger that he set out to do? It's a physical, tangible representation, but it's a symbol for something much bigger that was always the goal and always the intention of him running for office. And what if that is election integrity? Okay, now go with me here. Think about this, because when he was inaugurated, he said, we are now returning the power to the people. And one of the things that we're seeing as we go through this process of looking at these election audits and trying to restore the election integrity is that it really is coming down to the people. It is coming down to we the people who are taking back the power and the control of this nation. And really, truly, the one the one stabilizing force and the one stabilizing factor of this country that separates us from all others isn't just the physical wall, it is our systems of elections. And that has been compromised beyond what you could imagine through the past several administrations. And we know that he was tasked with and asked many years ago to run for office. We also are almost certain that we knew going into 2016 that he was that they were cheating. We knew that they were going to. I believe that we had the intel that they were going to do that. And and so what if all of the talk and all of the action around the wall, it is really just a very small portion of the overall process and the bigger goal, which is to build an impenetrable wall of election integrity that can never be compromised again, that can never be removed, that can't be cut, that can't be dismantled by anyone with nefarious intentions. Because the truth is, if we don't get this right, if we don't restore this to our republic, then there is absolutely no use for a wall. We can have a wall around the entire country, but if we don't build the wall from the ground up, the wall of election integrity, then we have no country. And I think that that is what I think that's the bigger story here. And when Real 45 talks about the wall, obviously he's very proud of that accomplishment, as he should be. But I also believe that he is talking about a much bigger and grander and more consequential plan and goal, which is to restore the integrity of our nation. And that can only be done by going back to the very basics and putting back in place the foundation and the tenets of an election that is run uniquely apart from any other way that elections are run anywhere in the world. That is what I think is happening here. And I believe that it is going to happen. I believe that there is going to be a major shift going forward, and I think that that is part and parcel of his return. That it's going to be that things are not going to be the same. That we're never going to go back to the way we were. And he's bringing light to it. He's bringing attention to it every chance he gets. And he was talking about it when he was at the wall yesterday. And that's my thinking. That's my theory. And I don't even know that this is something that if you were sitting down with him and having a conversation with him, if you said, "Hey, Mr. President, can you tell me, is your emphasis on the wall symbolic of your greater emphasis and focus on restoring election integrity? Is election integrity the real wall? Um, and so I think that I think because here's the thing, even if we do fix immigration before 2022 or 2024 or whenever, if we fix it, so what? It doesn't matter if we fix it if we don't fix the elections. Nothing matters. Nothing else matters if we don't fix that because we never have a fair election again. It doesn't matter if illegals vote. It doesn't matter if patriots vote. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we're not the ones in charge of counting the votes. The machines are hooked up to the internet. They're compromised. The outcome is decided before it even starts, and that it doesn't matter what party you're in. There's no such thing in this country right now as a fair election. It just isn't. And until that happens, then we don't have then wall, immigration process, ICE, um, customs and border protection. None of it doesn't matter. I mean, doesn't matter. So that's just my theory. I believe that is where this is all going, and that when he talks about returning power to the people, that it is that it's so much bigger than we even realized from the start. Because one of the things I believe that most people got stuck on, most of the supporters, most of his supporters certainly got stuck on the idea that he was here just to fix it all. And I mean, I like to think of that idea, right? I like to think, dad is just going to, dad's just going to like snap his fingers. It's all going to be fixed. But the truth is, he's been saying from the very start that he is that we're returning power to the people. And so, uh, um, so I think that it is, it's big. It's very big. I'm looking at Vicky's comment on YouTube. She says, "Without God shining His grace upon we the people, we are nothing." Should have said that first. That's a given to me, and I do talk about that a lot. But the very basis of our nation and our Constitution and our Bill of Rights is founded and based on those biblical tenets. So that is that's hands down a given. I mean that's part of what I would consider the wall of integrity, the wall of voter integrity, the wall of rule of law, those things that are based on a much bigger and deeper principles of who God is and of how He set this nation apart. That's that's a given, and that certainly was in the intention of the founding fathers. And we can't have a nation without that. A godless nation is a nation without walls. There's just no two ways about that. There's no equivocating on that. So, um, anyway, that's just kind of that's my thinking. That's what occurred to me today about the situation, and uh, um, it is it's imperative that we the people take up the fight. It's imperative that we embrace uh, and not let go of what we're being given and what is the opportunities that are being given to us, because I see a lot of people who say it's too much, I give up, when is something going to happen? and and the answer to that question is, well, something is going to happen when you do something. It's not enough to sit back and wait, and we can't be people who say, um, for example, people who are living on unemployment who could be going out and getting a job, um, people who are depending on the government to support their children and feed them when they're able-bodied and can get a job. If you feel very strongly about that, and you say, I don't understand why people would be on government assistance or would keep getting checks when they're able-bodied, but then you turn around and say nothing's happening, somebody needs to do something. That's actually really disingenuous. It's kind of hypocritical because you're on the one hand, you're criticizing the people that are taking handouts, and then you're sitting here complaining because nothing is happening and nobody's snapping their fingers and fixing everything. And you could be one of those people who's part of the solution. See what I mean? So I would caution you about that if you're one of those people that's throwing your hands up and saying, nothing is happening and this is never going to get fixed. Well, hey, you're one of those people, and so be part of the solution. And even the words that you say are part of part of either the solution or the problem. And I was listening to Nathan French today on Elijah List, and he said something interesting, and this is right in line with something that I've been saying quite a bit, and that is that you're either speaking from a position of faith or of fear, and the words that you say affect the atmosphere. And this is, I mean, I beat this drum constantly. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you know this. And sometimes I will even admonish people in the chat because the things that I see people saying and agreeing to, things like, oh, it's never going to happen, we're never going to fix this, we're stuck with this many people are going to die, those types of things. um, I don't see those statements coming from a place of faith. And I'm talking about faith in God and God's will for his people and for America and for the world. When those statements come out, that's an open invitation for the enemy of our souls to have free reign to say, oh, here's a person who actually agrees with me. Great. I have an open door. And so it's important because the things that you say, uh, and the place from which you say them have a profound impact on the atmosphere. The words that we speak, good things are coming today. Good things are coming from God. It's God's will that we should prosper as a nation. It's God's will that we should bring that prosperity into the world. It's God's will that we should bring the gospel into the world. Um, it's important that we be very, very careful about uh, about who we're agreeing with and who we are inviting into the process, into our thought process and into our conversation. And what I mean by that is the things that we speak, whether it's in a chat or the words that come out of our mouth or the thoughts that we have, what is being advanced by those things. It's important, you know? Um, and so I am in full agreement with Nathan French, and I will continue to exhort you to be extremely cautious and very careful about the words that you say, even in passing. I mean, some of the things that we say and some of the things that um, um, some of the things that we say, I think we're not even aware. I mean, I've heard people say things like, let me just give you an example. Like they get these little expressions, either they get them from maybe a parent or a grandparent, but they'll say things like, well, everybody in my family died young, so I'm gonna die young too. Why would you say that? That's actually agreeing with the the spirit of death. Um, you know what I'm saying? Because that I don't think that's coming from God. And that's just one example, but there's tons of little things like that people can say. Even the things that you say about yourself. I mean, if you make a mistake, for example, that if you say like if you make a mistake, "Oh, I'm such an idiot." Have you ever said that to yourself? Actually, that's not how God sees you. And so just be very careful about those things that you speak about yourself or even over other people. And the life and death is in the power of the tongue. So choose life. And I have a story of that illustrates this. Um, and that is this. When I was living in Switzerland, I went I went to uh, I went and did a ski lesson in Avoria, which is near Chamonix in France. And I was with some friends and they suggested that I take a lesson because I was in the Alps, right? And so I went to my lesson and I had a ski instructor. His name was Bruno. And he was really a good teacher because he was an expert at skiing. He had kids who were on the world tour. They were like at the Olympic level skiing and things like that. I mean, they'd grown up skiing, and he was obviously really skilled and gifted at what he did. And I went out there and I'm pretty coordinated. So, I showed up on my skis. You come with your skis on and you meet the instructor. And sorry about the background noise, guys. My dad's upstairs doing I don't know what. It sounds like he's beating something on the cutting board. But let me tell my story. So when when uh when I came to my lesson, I skied up and I'm not a spaz. Okay. So I looked pretty confident, I guess. And maybe he overestimated my ability, but I was kind of a beginner. And and when I get and so when I get out there, we're on the beginner slope, the one where you have the little tow rope that pulls you up the hill, which those things are kind of weird. I'd rather just use a chairlift. But so we're out there and I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to take instruction, and I'm a teacher myself. So I'm just, trying to hear and follow what he's saying. And, here I am in the French Alps. It's beautiful. It's stunning. The sun is shining. There's snow on the ground. There's happy people around. And my instructor, every time I make a mistake, this is what he says to me. He says, um, he says, I mean, even a little mistake, he goes, "No, stupid." Every time I made a mistake, every time I made a mistake, he would say that, "No, stupid." And uh, it went on and on every single time. Here I am on the little baby slope. I'm supposed to be learning so I can go ski with my friends, and I'm out here and I'm in a new country and I'm having fun. And he was courteous enough to speak English with me, but every time I made a mistake he would say that. Is anybody else hearing double talk, or is that just somebody who's having issue with their thing? Okay, I'm going to keep going. It's like nobody wants this story to get out, but here we go. And so here's what I said to him. I was getting frustrated, not because I was making mistakes, but because of the way he was treating me. And again, I'm a teacher. I would never say that to a child. One thing that I since learned about the French people is that they are incredibly self-critical. And I could go into a whole another realm about that, but that's one of their teaching styles is that even at the kindergarten level. I mean, it's incredibly demanding. And this is something that I observed because I was teaching right next door. I was in a school that was bilingual. So for every grade, there was a French section and an English section. And so I know what I'm talking about. I saw how the French people teach, but that's another story. But the way he said it, right? No, stupid. And so finally, I found myself on the verge of tears. And I was thinking all of a sudden, I thought, wait, I'm paying for this and I'm supposed to be having fun, but I'm about to cry. And so, and it may have been just an expression for him, but it was very real to me because I wanted to do well and I wanted to have fun. And so finally, I looked at him, I stopped and I said, "Listen, Bruno, You cannot call me stupid. I am not stupid, and if you keep calling me stupid, I will not learn. That is not how good teachers teach. Don't call me stupid again." I got right in his face, and and I don't think he expected that, especially from a woman, and and so he was nonplussed. He just stopped, and he processed it, and we continued the lesson, and he never called me stupid again, and it was great. I learned a lot. I had fun, and then I went off with my day and enjoyed skiing. But I I had to do that, and the whole point is that even though I mean, I was an adult, and I have enough sense and enough self-worth to know, okay, he's not actually, he doesn't have the power to, uh to impart that identity on me. But imagine a child, okay? Or imagine the more you say those things to yourself. Because remember, the devil is the accuser of the brethren. And he's always going to do that. He's actually going to do that through you if you cooperate with him. He doesn't even need somebody else to do that for him. But the more we do those things, the more we are participating with him. And I could go on and on and on about this, but the power of life and death is in the tongue. And this is so important. I talk about it a lot, but I want to tell you that I have not always been a positive person. I have not always been a, a sunny outlook person. That has not always been my way, and I have struggled. I have struggled tremendously in the past with depression, and a lot of the source of that struggle and a lot of that struggle was perpetuated by my self-talk and by the things that I believed about myself and by the agreements that I had made with the enemy of my soul. And this was even as a Christian that I was bombarded by these things, and it was it took a long time for me to break free of that. And a lot of it had to do with making conscious decisions about what it is that I would say to myself and the conversations that I would have with myself, with God, and also with the devil. And one of the things that I hear Kat Kerr say is when it comes to the agenda of the enemy is I will not tolerate that. I do not tolerate that. And that is a very powerful thing to say. And I practice it quite a bit, whether it's with self thoughts or with proclamations over situations. For example, with sickness, the whole thing, with the Rona, I was here for the past year with myself, my dad, my mom before she passed away. And I had to make a decision because it would have been very easy to be gripped by fear of one of them getting sick because they're in the target age group and they're in the vulnerable age group, et cetera, et cetera. And I had to say, uh, I had to say, from early on that I will not tolerate and I will not allow that in this home. We are not receiving or allowing or tolerating that to come into this house. And that is very powerful. And I encourage you to take that to heart and to start practicing that. And the counterpart of that is to think about and focus on what it is that you will receive and what it is that you invite into your home and into your family. And there's a lot of teaching around that. There's a lot of very powerful teaching around how you can fortify your own environment and your home. But the words that you say and the agreements that you take and that you make are incredibly powerful. And that is, yeah, that is my, um, yeah, that's my little reminder, especially as we go through the weekend. You might be around family, you might be in situations that are challenging to you. Holidays can be hard for people, even celebratory holidays like the Independence Day. Um, but that is something to take into your weekend. And um, So I just want to encourage you on that. I'm seeing the comments here. It looks like everybody's in agreement here. Being renewed in our minds. Yes, exactly. We do have to renew our minds. Be transformed by the renewing of your minds. Exactly. It's intentional. One of the people that teaches really well on that also is Dan Mohler, Mohler, I think. And I learned a lot from him. Um, and he, he's not for everybody because I mean, he really tells it like it is. But if you're used to listening to Real 45, that's a person who just tells it like it is. Dan Muller's like that. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's not mollycoddling anybody when it comes to the things of the spirit. And so you may or may not be ready for it. You might be offended by him, but you may actually need that. It might be what you need. And so you can look him up. Um, Again, it's not for everybody, but it had an impact on me. And here's the thing, sometimes you're ready for certain teachings and for certain people, and then other times you're not. And if you find yourself getting offended by somebody who's teaching, there's a good chance that you actually need to hear it, but maybe you're just not ready. And it's a good time to have a conversation with Holy Spirit about what it is that's blocking you from hearing what it is that that person has to say. Now, other times it might just be a warning that God is telling you that that's not of Him. And so that's where discernment comes in. Okay. So, let me just check my notes here, see if there's anything else that uh, I want. Oh, he just put out another statement, I think, about $10 trillion. Hold on. No, okay. Oh, wait. George News just put out. Oh, it's a comment from Liz Crokin. All right, I'm not gonna go into that right now. All right. He did put out a statement. He did put out a statement from about the prosecutors, the radical left prosecutors. Remember yesterday I was talking about prosecutorial abandonment, that they were practicing prosecutorial abandon, and I think it's interesting that he's talking about that today. Maybe he was listening to me. Uh, um, he says, "Do people see the radical left prosecutors and what they're trying to do to 75 million plus voters and patriots for what it is?" I'm telling you, I think that I think things are coming down on these people. Things are coming down. Hold on, my mouse isn't working. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Listen, Monday, I think I'm going to be on Monday, even though it's technically a holiday. I think I will be here at 5:30 Eastern. If for some reason I end up out or out and about and I have to push the show back, I might do that. But just watch my Telegram channel, Mary Grace Media Official. And if it's not going to happen at that exact time, then just you'll find out there, Mary Grace Media Official. I see people sometimes saying, "Oh, I don't have a Telegram channel, blah blah blah." Well, sorry. I mean that's where I'm posting things now. One thing I did want to tell you is that there is a new social media app which is put out by Jason Miller, and it's called Getter. Here's what it looks like: Gettr. There's my page. It's just Mary Grace. It's a little bit rudimentary, and I couldn't find my regular profile picture, so I put this one up. What do you think? It was taken a year ago on Independence Day. I think it's appropriate. Okay. Um, but that is my profile. So go over there and and set up an account. Uh, um, go over there and set up an account. And the reason that I do it is because I don't want anybody to take my name. I mean, I have so many accounts, but I know it is a good picture, isn't it? It might trigger a few people, but there it is. Oh, and one thing I wanted to tell you also is if you order superfoods this weekend, now between now and the 5th, you actually will get a free gift with your purchase. So there's the Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation, which I talk to everybody about, and I give you the link for that. You're actually going to get a free gift, one of our juices. And so if you're thinking about ordering superfoods and using my promo code, this is a good time to do it. It's my promo code. You can get that by writing to me, info@marygracemedia.com, and I will send you the link with the promo code. And when you click on the link to buy, that free gift is automatically included. So you're gonna save like over $100 off of that transformation pack, which is a 30-day program with 60 meal replacements of superfoods. And the superfoods is amazing. It just like I'm powered by superfoods. I'm going to California in I'm going to California in this month, July. I'm going to the Clay Clark's conference out in Anaheim, and I think I might actually get to go visit our supplier out there. So that's going to be pretty cool. Oh, Marianne says she's in the 4th Ultimate Lifestyle Transformation in a row. It's amazing. Um, it is. It is really amazing. Delia started almost has been a year, Delia. It's almost a year since you started. I think it was July or August. And I think that's amazing because she's lost like 61 pounds. She's kept the weight off. I think she's at her high school weight, and she's 63, I think. Um, okay, somebody ordered the Joint Flex. Okay, that's great. Yeah. And this is what I used for my dad too. So all the brain fog that he was having, I was telling you about this. So he's using one of the products that I gave him from actually he's on 3 different superfoods products right now. I don't have him on the shakes yet, on the green food, not yet. I mean, it's a little bit of a slow transition with somebody who's in their 80s, but we're having pretty good success with the stuff that I've been giving him. But oh, Delia is 64. Amazing. Am I going to San Antonio in November? Is that another Health and Freedom? I don't know. I think. I mean, I'll talk to them when I'm out there. And find out. How do you order superfoods? Penny, just write to me, info@marygracemedia.com, and I'll send you the information with a link to order. It's very easy. But yeah, just make sure that you do it this weekend because you're going to get a free gift with your order. And if you're wanting to try some of the juices, this is a good time because it's free. You get a free it's called Can't Beat This. It's amazing. Um, Somebody asked which ones, Mary Grace. What do you mean, which ones? What do you mean? Oh, it's called Revive It All. Yeah, and you can write to me. Um, you can write to me, and I'll send you the link to exactly what it is. It's amazing because what it does is it opens up the neuroreceptors of the brain. And sometimes when people are having brain fog, the way I understand it is that the brain is fine, but there's like it's like interference, it's like radio static. And so those neuroreceptors need to be almost it's like corrosion. And so what this stuff does is it removes the corrosion and it actually allows the transmission to get through to the brain. That's my layperson's explanation of it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I've got him on the Biometic and that, and now I've got him on the aminos. Um, Feel free to drop in on Philly. Philly is not even close to where I'm going, but yeah, Delia, Arizona. I was gonna go to Arizona, like When? Last month, or no, the month before, but I ended up going, where did I go? I went to Tulsa. Yeah, everything changed. Clay Clark decided to do an entire tour around the country, and so that changed a few things. But I am going to Anaheim. I'm about to buy my ticket, and I'm going to be at Dana Point, somewhere near there. I'm going to be doing a little bit of stand-up paddle surfing, so that could be fun. And I've been wanting to check out, a couple places out there. So I think it's going to be fun. The Anaheim conference is 2 days. Yeah. So write to me so that you can get your superfoods. What I was saying about the conference and the superfoods is that I just reordered my superfoods because I'm going to take that with me. It's just the easiest thing ever. You don't have to buy airport food. You don't have to worry about the fact that they're not actually feeding you on the plane. And then if I make a shake, I can be drinking it the whole way for like 5 hours on the way to California. And that way I don't have to wear the face diaper, because if you're eating, you're actively eating. What can they do? I don't know. I mean, I need prayer about that, because the idea of wearing that even more than 30 seconds is very hard for me. Um, the beaches in California are awesome. I know they are. They really are. I almost moved there for surfing, but I ended up going to Hawaii instead. So because I wanted to be in warmer water. And newsflash, the water in Hawaii is not that warm. Does everybody know that? It's not as warm as you think it is. It looks warm. It's not that warm, because it's pretty deep water and it's out in the Pacific Ocean. But it's warmer than California. Uh, if I had my camper van that I want to get, I would drive to California, but I have to fly. I don't have time really to drive right now. But if I had the camper van, I would, because then I could just do everything out of the camper van, right? Uh, but that's coming. All right. Let's see. Any more questions? I'll take a couple of questions today. Dana Point is beautiful. There's a golf club you'll want to check out close by. I don't know that I'm going to be checking out golf. Which one is it? I mean, I'm going to be pretty focused on the water. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be surfing. Baby Beach and Dana Point Harbor is great for sup. Maybe you should write to me, Penny, because yeah, I'm gonna be trying. I'm probably gonna be renting some boards, because there's some boards that I've been looking at for a while, and there's a company out there that makes them. So we'll see if it's a good fit for me. Um, I need something that I'll be able to. Um, I need something that I'll be able to put in my car. Delia worked in Hawaii for 3 months and went on the water once. Oh my goodness. Um, oh, the golf club belongs to 45. Oh, in that case, write to me and tell me about it. Stewart Sports. No, this is Infinity. They may not let you on the plane with your drink. What? 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 What insanity is this? Are they now denying people the ability even to drink things? That's crazy. I wanted to fly Alaska Air, but the connections just aren't good. And so I'm probably going to have to fly American. Pray for me, guys. I'm really praying that they lift that stupid mask mandate before that. There's a push to get it lifted. There was a push to get it lifted, prior to uh, this weekend, but I don't think that happened. I mean, it's absolute nonsense that it's still in place. Uh, Catherine is saying they might make me toss my drink. Why are you saying that? I mean, I know that you can't go through security with a drink, but you know what? I might just mix it up on the plane. That's the beauty of the superfoods, is I don't have to have it pre-made. I just bring my cup and mix it up on the plane. So American Airlines seem to be randomly canceling flights. Oh, that's lovely. Uh, yeah, Delia says it won't be a drink when she gets on the plane. It'll just be a powder and water. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Um, the yeah, I think Delia, I think I found some really good bottles that are leak proof for my apothecary. I'm pretty excited about that. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'll be fine. I mean, if they could give me some ice. Um, your friend was given a number for a hotel, no voucher, no extra help. After hanging around the um, airport for about 8 hours, she was exhausted. Yeah. Wow. Well, here's the thing. I use my American Express, and if they did that to me, I would dispute the charges and have it reversed because that's just insane. Yeah, not happening to this person. Mixing on the plane. Yeah, I'm gonna mix on the plane. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Shake it up. I mean, I'm not one of those people that's gonna bring tuna fish on a plane. Uh, yeah, I've heard the rumors about the pilots that have gotten sick from the Jabberwocky. I hope mine doesn't. I'll just pray over the whole trip. I'll pray, you know, beginning to end. Don't use ice from the plane. Oh, I've heard that. Yeah. Flying into Long Beach or LAX. I want to fly into Long Beach. Um, I agree. I don't want to go to LAX. I want to avoid it if at all possible. I have to figure out the distance from there to where we're staying. I don't know if I need a car until the last day when I'm doing the surfing. Because during the conference, you're not really we're using Ubers and stuff like that. Uh, so I don't think I need a car right away. I don't think so. Um, the shake is supposed to be mixed just before drinking. Yeah, exactly. You can mix it a little bit ahead of time, but you have to keep it really cold. But it is better to mix it before. You definitely don't want it to get warm. Long Beach is better for staying in Orange County. Well, we have a what do you call it? A VRBO place in Anaheim. I didn't book the place. I just have to show up. You guys have a shortage of Ubers. Burbank Airport is great too. How far is Burbank Airport from Anaheim? Is that or Ontario Airport? I think that was an option too. This is very helpful. Thank you guys. Somebody just sent me a message. Okay. Uh, let's see. Not far further than Long Beach and LAX. So Burbank is a little further. Burbank. Will I see the Beverly Hillbillies if I do that? Ontario is way out there. Okay, good to know. I mean, it sounds like it. Isn't that Canada? Just joking. I know it's not. I know it's different. Burbank is small and easy. I like small and easy. I do. But I was thinking that if I fly into Long Beach, I can get I can get a car on the last day and then go and do all my surfing and everything and then bring it back the day that I fly out. Burbank is further than LAX. Long Beach is best. Okay. This is a wealth of information. Thank you. Um, all right. Anything else? Long Beach within 20 minutes of Anaheim. That's what I thought. So Long Beach, how far is it from Dana Point? Not far, like 30 minutes maybe. Um, that's what I think. Those of you who are done listening, no need to hang out. Everybody's giving me information here about my trip. Um, Huntington Beach is best. Well, yeah, but the place that I'm going to get the boards, there's some places around there that I'm going to go and surf and demo some boards, and there's not everybody allows stand up paddle surfing. Um, so that's something I need to take into account as well. And so there's some logistical things that have to be taken into account. Uh, You're not, Delia's not putting this part in the notes. Okay. Dana Point is south of Anaheim, about 30 minutes. Awesome. Is anybody going to the conference? I don't know any details about the conference. I just know that I'm going. um, if I land in Long Beach, the golf club is only about 20 minutes west. Okay. Very cool. Mary Grace. Dana Point has great waves. Yeah, I hear they're small, but that's okay. That it just I just need a little beach break, like maybe a little point break, um, to try out these boards. The only thing is I can't bring my paddle. It's too hard to do that. So hopefully I'll have a good paddle to sample everything with. Um, I don't have one of those take apart paddles. SoCal driving times all depend on traffic conditions when you're actually on the road. Google Maps currently puts Long Beach Airport about 65 minutes from Dana Point. Okay, that's good to know. I think my flight would be I think my flight would be um like at noon or something. So I wouldn't go out surfing that morning. I would just get ready to go. Um okay, the harbor has very small waves. I think that I think they said that there's like a river mouth. I have to look on the map, but there's a place that is where stand-up paddle boards are allowed. Isn't that funny? I mean, in Hawaii, there's no places where they tell you that you can or can't use a stand-up paddle board. California is so wrapped up on itself. Um, rules, rules, rules. Okay, Dana Point has perfect weather. Waze app is good to use in LA. I have to figure out how to use that. I tried to use the Waze app one time and I didn't know that it would shout at you every time there was an obstacle on the road. And I almost drove off the road the first time I had the Waze app plugged into my Bluetooth. I mean, it was like uh, accident up ahead. I was like, whoa, what is that? Who's yelling through my radio? It was the craziest thing. I have to figure out how to fix that. It really turned me off to the Waze app. Let's see. The the conference, I think you have to get the tickets on the website on Thrive Time. Thrive Time. Obviously, I'm not very organized about that. Ways developed in Israel. Well, they must have a lot of road obstacles because they certainly have that part dialed in. Um, many options on Waze. Yeah, I clearly, obviously, didn't didn't tap into those options because it just created havoc for me. Um, oh my gosh, yeah, I saw that LA County just mandated masks due to the Delta variant. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen at the conference, obviously. Uh, okay, SIG alert app, mute the voice. Well, I think that I figured out you could mute the voice, but I didn't know that when I first installed it. Somebody told me, um, what they said, you use Waze. I was like, okay, okay. And then it just literally, I almost drove off the road when that thing started shouting at me. Is Anaheim in Orange County? Am I going to be stuck in LA County? What about Dana Point? What about San Clemente? What about Huntington Beach? Is that all in LA County? Because, ugh, bleh. I don't want to be stuck doing that. All right, I'm going to sign off here. Um, uh, only a recommendation for LA County wearing it. My sister and I had a great time. Uh, okay, Orange County. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, you live in San Clemente. Okay, got it. Um, if I arrive in Long Beach, I will never go to LA County. Thank God. Another reason not to fly into LAX. Last time I was in LAX, um, I Real 45's Golf Club, a super beautiful, nice restaurant, Orange County. Okay. The people that I'm going to be with know the area pretty well. So who knows? Maybe we'll go there. Um, last time I flew into LAX, it was abysmal because I was flying in from Hawaii and they didn't have the terminal that I was in has has had no food or drink, nothing available, not even water because they were renovating. And so you come in from a flight, it's late at night, you're about to get on a red eye. People wanted dinner. You couldn't get anything. You could literally you couldn't even get there was no vending machine. It was insane. And then of course now in the days of the way flights work, they're barely giving you bread and water on the plane. It was horrible. And you didn't have time to go to another terminal. Um, your sister lives down the street from the beach in San Clemente. That's so cool. Wow. Um, okay. I am going to sign off here and I will probably most likely be back on uh um most likely back on Monday at my normal time 5:30, and if not I will post something in the Telegram room, and that is Mary Grace Media uh official. Don't fly into LAX. I know. One of my friends was going to fly in there. I was like, "Can you fly into a different airport? I would consider picking you up if you do." All right, here we go. I'm going to sign off. Thank you guys for all of your advice. And this part will probably not be in the show notes. But thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you to my moderators. And I will see you soon. Have a great weekend and have a wonderful, wonderful Independence Day celebration. And make sure you watch Real 45 rally on the 3rd in Florida.